Okay, hello everybody.
Hello and welcome to episode 63 of Podcast On with...
Yeah, Cynthia and Barb from River City Yarns. We're
She's
happy
Barb.
to join you today. I'm Barb. And who are you?
I'm Barb's annoying little sister, Cynthia. And together we own and operate River City Yarns in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. What we like to call your online local yarn store.
Yeah, we're happy to be here today. We've got, a little bit, the sun's peeking in and out of our front window. We're at our shop today, and we've got a special guest to talk to. We've got some new yarn to show you. We've got 3 or 4 finished objects and several works in progress.
Yeah.
So let's get started.
We've been busy. We've been busy because it's winter in Canada and the weather is so unpredictable. You just never know whether it's going to be nice or gnarly.
And does it really matter? I mean, we're makers, right? If we're stuck inside for a week because of a blizzard, woohoo!
Looking forward to snow days, right?
Yeah.
Though spring would be nice too. Okay, enough about that.
Spring would be nice too. And it's coming. Honestly, it is. I saw a guy in shorts and a t-shirt like a week ago out on the street.
Man.
Remember that one little blip in the weather that we had where it was warm? People think
melting snow equals spring?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But then, the next day it snowed like 10 inches, and that was the end of that.
Oh, man.
So.
Yeah, I hear you. So what have we been up to, Barb?
Right.
What's new at River City Yarns?
Well, there's so many things that are new, and I think a lot of it generates from what you've been doing, which is getting us some amazing classes.
We do have some good stuff.
Oh my gosh.
We've had some great stuff going on.
Yes.
And some really great stuff coming in. Did you happen to bring your Ann Bud sweater with you today?
I did.
Oh,
do you want to start there?
Yeah, let's start there.
Yeah, so Ann Bud is at River City Yarns. She's teaching a series of classes. The one that I'm taking with Cynthia is the top-down yoked sweater class. Connie's going to come in a little bit later and chat with us about the set-in sleeve class that Ann is teaching. But oh my gosh, these are like 6-week classes?
Yeah, they're 6-session classes that happen over 8 weeks. So you do get a couple of break weeks in there. And Ann teaches you everything from start to finish, how to make a sweater pattern your own. You can follow, you basically follow the instructions in Ann's book, the Knitter's Handy Book of Top-Down Sweaters. But she's going to teach you everything that you need to know to have a sweater that fits you, a sweater that is customized to you or the person that you're knitting it for. And you still have to do a gauge swatch, but the entire design is based on your gauge, not on somebody else's gauge. So that really makes swatching so much more fun, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, for sure. And the thing about Ann's book is that you choose whatever gauge of yarn you want, from fingering right through to chunky. So it was really exciting because it gave me a chance to try this one.
Yes, you're using Rowan Moordale.
I've been wanting to use this yarn for years, and I finally got the chance, and I'm loving it.
It's a beautiful saturated green that you've got there.
The colors in this line are gorgeous. So do you want me to start?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay,
yeah.
So I'm a bit of a slow starter. Everybody's past where I am on their sweater, but I had to do a lot of swatching.
Yeah, let me help you.
I had to figure out, first of all, there's a provisional cast on right at the top of the neckline, which I think is brilliant. At first I wasn't sure about that. Most of the top-down sweaters I've knit start off with ribbing for the neckline, similar to this one, and then you just start increasing and keeping going for the yoke. But Ann has you put a provisional cast on, and this is so cool because you can change your mind later about what you want your neckline to look like. It can be a short little ribbed neckline like this sweater here, or you could do something completely different, like a funnel neck or a collar or whatever you want, because you've got the provisional cast on. So really brilliant. The other thing that she encouraged us to do was design our own kind of yoke. And we could use one of the patterns that were in her book and just, go from there, or we could design our own. And I've had sort of a major crush on K Facet since about, the year 2000, but 20 years. But I have several of his books at home. I think I have almost all of his books at home. And this is one of his patterns. This is called Floating Stones. And I was just enamored with it and wanted to see if there was some way that I could incorporate that into the neck of my sweater.
Yeah.
And so it worked, Cynthia. It worked so well. I did my first set of increases. I did my first 2.5 inches and increased.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you know it, my chart fit perfectly into there.
Oh, good.
I had the exact right number of stitches.
Nice.
And my chart that I used just magically divided by the number
That's
of stitches
amazing.
that I had.
So will you continue your chart and then do the rest of the increases after you finish the color work, or are you going to mix increases into here?
My chart is 46 rows.
Okay.
My next increase, I think, comes about row 35.
Okay.
So I'm going to do the increase at row 35 because Anne showed me how to do it. She said to do it in the green sections where, it's sort of dark. And the other thing she said was that they don't have to be placed, exactly so many stitches apart from each other. You've got wiggle room on that as long as you end up with the number that is in your worksheet.
Right.
So
this is really nice. I love this patterning. It looks really
like it?
good. Yeah. It's lovely. And I've been admiring the inside of your work. This is something that knitters love to do, is like turn that garment around and let's see the inside.
Yeah.
So yeah, the inside looks amazing. You're doing a really nice job, Barb.
Thank you.
Oh, you got your swatches here?
I do. I think I've got my other ones too. I'll check. But this one was, Anne has you swatch the way you're going to be knitting your sweater, so in the round. And so I thought, well, I could make just a small one and cut it, because she taught us how to do that and strand across the back. Or I could just make, kind of like a cowl. And so I just did the cowl.
Yeah.
And it just taught me so much. I knew I needed to go down a needle size for the rest of the sweater, just based on this. And I think, this would make really cool. I might even use this on the sleeves. I don't know.
That's nice, yeah.
But, you
it's
kind
a
of
wrist detail.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think swatching is so great because it doesn't just end when you find out how many stitches and rows. You can use your swatch for so many other things. It can inspire other design elements in your sweater. Or you can certainly wash it and get a sense of what the fabric's going to do. So,
in fact, you have to wash your swatch in this class because you want to be working with the gauge that will be post-washing. I mean, obviously, we're all going to wash our sweaters at least at some point, right?
Right.
In fact, we're going to wash our sweaters after we're done knitting them because the stitches really don't look their best until they've been washed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And this one has some alpaca in it too, Cynthia. This one has 30%. And I think Anne says, if you have anything like over 20% or some, or
it's sort of like a slippery fiber.
Yeah.
So you need to wash it and maybe even hang it to dry.
And I did that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Good.
It didn't change much. So I think that tells me too that the 70% British wool helps give it some structure, and probably the way the yarn's twisted as well.
Gives you that elasticity.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's see yours.
All right, well, I am almost finished my yoke. So this is mine, and like you, I'm using a stranded colorwork design. I'm back on a smaller needle now because I finished my colorwork, so I don't have much needle stretchability here.
But you could swap that out for a bigger one.
Yes, yeah.
Those colors are beautiful.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. So I picked, this is the color work I'm doing with Ancient Arts previous year's flash mob called Grateful. And so it's done in her Socknado base, which is the same as our Hat Trick and Hat Trick Semi-Solid.
I hope we have some of that left.
There might be a few skeins, but doesn't it pair nicely with the navy?
Yes.
The navy blue is Rowan Valley tweed, which is 100% wool in a tweed. So it's got these little flecks of color in it.
And this is fingering weight, right?
Well, it's sport weight on the band.
Okay.
So again, in order to get it to its full plumpness, you need to wash it. So off the ball, yes, I am working this on a small needle. I'm working it on a 3.5 millimeter needle at a sport weight gauge. But I do want my sweater to be lightweight, which is why I picked a lightweight yarn.
Yeah.
So the yoke will be a little bit heavier, right? Because it's double stranded in the sense that there's stranded color work going on back there. But the rest of the sweater will be kind of like light and airier.
Yeah. A little more drape.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I made up my own design. So kind of like you, I sat down and I drew out a little. I drew it almost like a pie shape in my knitting notebook with some graph paper. And that pie shape included the increases. So my design goes from a narrower point to a wider point.
And you've got all these vertical stripes in there too, which is going to be gorgeous.
Yeah, I had originally sort of thought of it as like rays of sunshine with these curly cues coming off of it. Now it looks a bit more to me like a more organic kind of design, like fiddleheads or some other kind of plant life.
Yeah.
But either way, it's sort of picking up what I kind of hoped, which is to get these, expanding kind of rays around the yoke.
So pretty.
Yeah.
So is there a pattern coming, do you think?
I don't know about that, Barb. I might share my chart. Like you, I think it might be nice to do something on the sleeve with that design, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It might just be nice to have it around the yoke. I mean, really learning how to knit a sweater is one thing, and then writing up a pattern is another.
Yes, you'll have to take Kate Atherley's grading class next if you decide you're going to, or how to design.
Well, I don't know if designing is really where I want to go. What amazes me is that every time Anne teaches one of these classes, she designs a sweater. And so I just feel like that's a real inspiration.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to being able to take the sleeves off pretty soon. And then I have to decide if I want to make it long sleeved or short sleeved, if I want to make a long sweater or a cropped sweater like this. This top-down design is kind of nice that way.
It is. I mean, if you're concerned about sleeves, you could even make a capelet.
I could. I think I'm going to do sleeves because I like having, a little bit of, I like having to not, pull it on. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. For sure. It all depends on time too, right? Like
This feels so soft. Has this been blocked?
Not yet, no. But I think what you're feeling is the combination of that Socknado and the Valley Tweed. Yeah. The Valley Tweed feels a little crunchy at first. It's definitely more of a tweedy kind of feel to it, but it's a yarn that softens up with wear and with washing. And I just like the way that there are these little tiny flecks of color in here that go along with whatever you pair it with. So
do you have your merino, or is that already done? Do you have that with
I didn't bring it with me. It didn't fit inside my bag. So I do have a half a ball left.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I didn't weigh it, so I don't know if it's exactly half.
So you could do something on the cuff or down the sleeve.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, stay tuned, everybody, to see our progress on these ones. And I really feel that I needed Anne's class to set me up for success.
Yeah.
To finish this and get a garment that's going to fit. I've never done so much swatching.
Yeah.
For a sweater before.
Yeah. And
so
I just, and it's not just Anne's class, right? Like we've got a class coming up this month with Holli Yeoh. She's got a first sweater class. So if you've never knit a sweater before, you should definitely take that one.
Or if you've knit a dozen sweaters and they've never fit.
Or you don't know how to seam. You know, seaming, weaving in your ends, putting on button bands. Holly's class is to construct a little cardigan, and there's all kinds of components in there, doing the neckline and the armhole shaping at the same time. It's a really good class.
See, I wanted to do a cardigan originally,
Yeah?
but I got scared.
Ah, well, you know what? The other sort of plus in all of this is that there are several people in our class with Anne, the Yeoh class, who have taken 2 and 3 classes with Anne.
Before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like this is the 3rd one in a series because each time she does it, it's a little bit different in the sense that you can take a set and sleeve class, you can take a raglan class, you can take a yoke class, you can take a saddle shoulder class.
Right.
So there's lots of options to pick from.
I'm a big proponent of that. I don't think that you can necessarily be such a sponge to absorb everything at one time, right? And you have to almost be in the moment to be ready to do something like that, to do it.
And you know, the other great thing about all these online classes, Barb, is the price point. Like, you know, this class that we're taking with Anne, it's 6 hours or 6 sessions, 2 hours each time. That's a 12-hour class. If you were to go to a retreat and do this class, because that's the only way you could get 12 hours in, right? You'd be paying...
Well, first of all, you wouldn't get 12 hours. There's no retreat that I've been to where you have, because that's like 2 full days.
Yeah.
I guess.
And then there's knitting in between. Like you'd have to be knitting a teddy bear sweater, right?
Yeah.
To get it done. But yeah, you know...
But this, we actually are going to finish our own sweaters.
Right. So when you go to these, my point is like when you go to these in-person retreats and you take a 3-hour class, you probably need to expect to be paying somewhere around $300, somewhere between $195 and $300 for a 3-hour class. And then there's the travel expense on top of that.
Right.
And then there's the in-the-moment thing, because if you're not feeling well and you're not paying attention, guess what?
Yeah, if you've stayed up too late the night before.
Drinking wine.
You know, socializing.
But that's a consequence, right? So with the online classes, the price point is affordable. You could take 3 sweater classes.
You could buy a really, really good bottle of champagne.
With your savings. So it's affordable, that's my point. And then we record the classes. So if you are not feeling well on the day of the class and you need to, or you're working, or your internet isn't working,
or you just need to watch that section a second time, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So yes, you've sold us all. We're signing up for all of the classes all of the time. Because it's, I hate to say this, but it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Right?
And here's the other thing about taking, you said it already, like you don't think you would have got it started or even finished without the class. But the other thing about the recording is that it's available to you for a week.
Yeah.
So you can't just park it forever.
Right.
This was my problem with buying online classes before, is that I'd buy the class and then I'd say, oh, I've got that there. Like my stash, I'll get to it someday.
Yes.
Which is never.
Yeah, you need a bit of a deadline, right? I know, or a reason to go back to that class and review it again.
Yeah. So
we're here to motivate you too. If you need some help, just send us an email and we'll rah you on and say, go pick up that sweater. Do 5 rows today. That's the other neat thing about the Makers Meetup. We meet once a week on Zoom, and literally people, almost everybody on that has said, you guys have kept us in check because they want to come back each week and show their progress. So if you want to do that, you have to actually knit or crochet or make, right? A few inches.
Weave or spin. I mean, there's just so many things that you can do that are that qualify as a maker's kind of thing.
Yeah.
You want to bake cookies and bring them to the Makers Meetup and tell us what they smell like? We're all into that.
Yeah. Exactly.
The Makers Meetup is Mondays. There's a registration on our website. So if you just go to classes and events and click on any of the months, or click on Knit Along or Crochet Along, they'll be, the Makers Meetup will be there. And you can register for it, or you can just copy the Zoom login codes off the webpage.
Yeah, you don't even have to, except when you register for it, then you get a reminder email, which I really like, because I have a very busy calendar.
Mm-hmm. Plus, there's a little gift in there.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you download. So when you register for a class, and maybe I could just take a minute to talk about this because some people don't know this.
Okay.
When you register for a class at River City Yarns, when you get your confirmation of your order, it comes with a download. And the download has the Zoom login information on it. But it also gives us an opportunity, if there is pre-work for a class, we attach that to the download. If there's, you know,
Coupons?
Well, or with
Discounts?
the Makers Meetup, maybe there's a recipe for something, or, you know, like we can tuck in a little gift in that digital download. So it's worth registering for those classes. But, you know, when you get your order confirmation, you may think, oh, this is just a confirmation of my order. And if you don't click on it, you miss the download. So there's a little button there. Click on it. Yeah.
Right down to the bottom to find all the good stuff too. So you might have to go right to the end.
Mm-hmm. But the important message is come and join us. We love newcomers, we love old comers, we love friends, we love new acquaintances, we love all kinds of crafting, and we just like to, you know, build that sense of community and that sense of motivation. So yeah,
it's fun to also see where everybody's from. We do a little check-in right on the front end, and Cynthia happens to know where everyone lives. She has your information.
Oh dear.
So that's really fun because we can do this mini weather report. So, you know, what's the weather like in your part of the country? And it's amazing. It's so much fun. So do join us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay.
Okay, so speaking of things that we were doing this month, we had this great visit with Sarah Schira.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, talk about that a little bit,
Well,
Cynthia.
yeah. So Sarah Schira is a new instructor for us, although she's not new to us. But Sarah teaches online classes on knitting gnomes, and so we asked her to come to our Saturday seminar and talk to us about. We called it Coping Strategies for 2022. But that talk kind of inspired me. I know before she came, Barb said to me, would you like to knit a gnome? And I said, no, I'm too busy. And then Sarah talked about gnomes and how personable they are and how fun they are to make. And I thought, oh, and then she showed gnomes and I kind of fell in love. And then she gave a promo code.
How many patterns did you buy?
So I kept myself to 5. There were many more I could have picked, but I kept myself to 5.
Yeah.
And so I have to come back to you now, Barb, and say, okay, you were offering me some yarn to make a gnome, and so yes, I do want to make a gnome.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm all up for that. Here you go.
So this is the latest gnome kit.
That's right. This one, and Sarah talks about sandwiching your colors too.
Yes,
right?
yes. I'm going to grab a couple of gnomes here while you do that.
So here we go. This is our latest one. Now this one's going to be called, I think, Woodsy Gnome, because we are going to use some, we've got these kits on our website already. This one is our Royal Red Gnome kit, and we've got 3 sort of neutrals, 2 grays, a cream, and a color. And so this is Royal Red. This was sort of our Valentine-inspired gnome. This is from the Adventure Gnome pattern of Sarah's. This one is our Nordic kit. It's got golds and grays in it. And I think I might have picked up a little black from some stash, and this color too. This is from a Chardonnay kit. This
I like
wine
that
color.
pom-pom. It's got, so this reminds me of one of the things that Sarah said during her classes, that be careful of who you intend this gnome to be for, because if you give it to children, they will use it as a weapon. And I was just thinking, oh.
Yeah, you can really do some damage with that.
She's also got a new pom-pom with designs on it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
She's so, okay, this girl's Canadian, first of all. I have to put a plug in for our Canadian talent. But she's got so many great ideas. I don't think she sleeps at night. She's just thinking about gnomes all the time. It's just amazing. And then this next one.
I love this one.
This one is from Never Not Gnoming, or his name's on the bottom.
Gnome pun intended.
Gnome pun intended. So this is another one of our kits where we put some little embellishments in each one of the gnome kits. We give, the first sets were made with 4 balls of Epic. And so you get lots and lots of yarn. You can make, many gnomes. And then a small little embellishment kit with some little fun things that we took apart some beautiful cakes of Noro yarn that we had. Some have mohair in them. You can make yourself a hairy gnome. So little embellishments, and we encourage you to go into your stash and find beads, buttons. We've seen gnomes with little hearts, buttons, little beads hanging off their beard. I mean, there's so many really neat things you can do with yours. So this month in March.
Right. We'll even back up a little bit. So Sarah has done this knit-along called the Year of Gnomes. And if you want to see the most gorgeous gnomes in the world, just check out the hashtag Year of Gnomes. But you put together kits for the Year of Gnomes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what these are all made out of. And this is our latest one. So we didn't have a kit with these browns. And at the same time, Caroline from Ancient Arts dyed this woodsy colorway for us on a 50-gram skein. So what we've done is we've taken one of these and one of our natural, and we're sandwiching them between a ball of Epic in the colorway Camel and Bison.
That's going to be so much fun.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can decide if you want the bison, the dark brown, to be your body and the camel maybe to be your hat. And Sarah recommends this for that wrinkly hat because you want to be able to see the detail. Or you could flip it right upside down. Go with me here. All right. And this could be your hat. Woodsy could be your body. Whoops.
Here we go.
There we go.
Okay, hold it up a bit.
There. And we could do it like that.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of different combinations, but we really like this this color for.
Can I see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of I'm sort of feeling it that this is the body and this is the hat, and then what else is there's oh, look at you.
Yeah. So this is the one I think that you asked me to start on.
I thought that would be really cool. This one's called.
This one's called. What is it, Connie?
Oh, no, you didn't. Yeah, there we go.
So this is almost like a bit of a jester's hat, isn't it, kind of?
Yeah.
But wouldn't he make kind of a fun little leprechaun gnome?
Oh, just in time for March 17th.
Right?
Yes.
So this is what I'm thinking, he could maybe have a little pot of gold or I don't know. Anyways, I think I could also, he doesn't have any legs on him, but you can certainly embellish, right? You can go from one gnome pattern to the other and pull over different things.
Right.
This little guy has a cute little pocket that his little arms go into.
Well, that's it. I think the pocket and the scarf and everything like that should be in the camel, and then the nose should be in the cream, and maybe his feet or something are in the camel. So
I don't think he's got any feet. This legs on this guy. I think he's just a body.
Right. But you could put legs on,
But you could put legs on him, you bet.
And you just have to buy a couple of patterns.
Wouldn't he look neat in this, too?
Yes.
Sarah was saying, do his hat in camel and then do his whole body in this. This is cutout dolls and playing. You could even do his body in the dark.
Well, and then his beard could be dark brown. If you wanted to add in a touch of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many options. I think the thing about this that you found, Cynthia, is you found the joy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and your imagination starts to go. Like she talked about taking the same gnome pattern and knitting it up using the same palette, but in different ways. So changing out the hat, changing out the beard or the scarf or whatever, the body. And then she talked about people doing, well, what really got me was the whole princess bride thing. So she talked about someone who was doing all the gnomes as princess bride characters. And I just thought, like I could totally get into that. Absolutely.
And wouldn't Rachel love that?
Well, she's not into Princess Bride yet, but if we did a Harry Potter theme, if the gnome had little, and well, that's the other thing she said about this one. She envisioned this one being like Dumbledore from
this hat was
Harry
inspired.
Potter.
Yeah.
This is inspired by the Sorting Hat. So yes, Rachel and Hayden would totally be into that.
Yeah.
So would my kids, and possibly so would I. Right? Yeah.
So take your
fun.
favorite Disney movie or, DMC Marvel comics or...
Sure. Superhero gnomes?
Yeah. Couldn't
Why
you
not?
see one with, big bulby muscly arms?
Oh, the Hulk.
The Hulk. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, well, stay tuned. There's more creativity coming your way for sure. I can see it. Cynthia's got some great ideas coming.
Oh, man. All right.
But this is fun. And, she's got the knit along, so you can join the knit along. You can enter a gnome in, and there's amazing prizes.
Right. We've donated prizes too. Yeah.
And a lot of the dyers have donated prizes.
And then Sarah's coming back on March 26th to do a class for us called No Fun Like Gnome Fun.
Right.
It's a 3-hour class on Saturday, March 26th, and she'll take us through start to finish how to knit a gnome in worsted weight.
And you'll actually get a completed gnome done.
Yeah. Yeah, with her guidance. She's including the pattern in with the workshop, but she's rearranged the instructions in the pattern. So you'll get a workshop adapted pattern, and then you'll get a link to download the original pattern afterwards.
So nice.
It's really nice. And again, she's full of tips and tricks and techniques, so it's going to be a wonderful class. Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Okay,
so what's next?
Well, I wanted to show you my skirt.
Oh, yes.
Because I finished my Ann Budd skirt, and I'm in the process of organizing another skirt class with Ann Budd.
Wow.
Because this is so much fun. So Ann, like everything else, Ann took us through designing your own skirt from start to finish, and mine's done. So
wow, congratulations.
Thank you. I don't know,
Cynthia,
I don't know how well you can see it, but
yeah,
it's so comfortable. These are like just the nicest skirts.
That's so pretty, and you've got a really cute diagonal lace pattern in it.
Well, she encouraged us to add a design to it,
and
so
pleats?
That's what I did. Yes, pleated
and and that's your color.
Well, yeah, it's so Ancient Arts merino silk blend, and then I'm wearing my Ancient Arts flock together. So Andrea Mowry pattern flocked together, but Ancient Arts yarn to go with it. So yeah, my wardrobe's finally kind of coordinating.
You got it all together, and your hair looks gorgeous too.
Oh, thank you. I did get some purple put in my hair this month as well.
It helps to have a hairdresser in the family.
It does. It doesn't. It certainly doesn't hurt at all. No.
And tell me about the little elastic that you have in your hair. Your hair looks so pretty pulled forward.
Thank you. Well, it's
almost like invisible.
It is. It's one of those little, those little annoying hair elastics that get in your vacuum cleaner when you're vacuuming up, and the little kids use them. But yeah, it's just a little piece of plastic. But it does help hold your hair in place, right? Yeah. Well, thank you.
And the earrings. Oh, I'm telling you got it called together today.
I do like purple. Yeah. Just call me Donny Osmond. I mean, I do like purple. And Prince. I mean, and purple. Okay.
Now we found out a few things about Cynthia.
I like purple. Yeah.
Tell me about your maker's board, because this is
We told you before about these maker's boards, right? This is from Coco Knits, and she does this great job. But it's made out of paper, washable paper. And so I thought, well, if that's the case, then you need a drawing on it, right? So I took this over when I was hanging out with my grandkids, and Hayden did this little scene for me, this little underwater scene. And then Rachel made sure everybody knew it was my maker's board, right? It's got my name on it. And so this is just really cool. You know, you just pop this baby open and pull her forward, and there's your pattern ready to go. And then we got these new little cute magnets, Barb, that say podcast on. So, I mean, how cool is that?
I know.
Got to have some of those.
You got to have
Whether
some of
it's on your fridge or on your maker's board or wherever. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So,
these are so much fun. I really think they're so handy. I almost want to get a second one and have, so you can have 2 projects on the go at once.
Well, you know, you could put another one here, right? Because there is another metal sheet in this side as well. So you can, and you can have it, you know, you can have it open like a book.
Right.
So you've got some ways.
You can also put it up against a stand. We have these cool little book stands here in the shop that are like a little wedge, and this just sits so nicely up on the stand. So you can do multi-purpose with your single maker's board.
Well, I mean, having 2, for sure.
And it's so much fun just to put magnets on them. I just having a riot playing with. Yeah.
Oh man, you're funny. What's in your maker's board?
I have my magnets are so powerful that
and so heavy.
Instructions for my latest gnome.
Oh, okay.
Oh, gnome, you didn't. So that's what I've been working on in here.
Right. Yeah, so I have my chart clipped in here. It's sort of folded over here, but I've also been using this spot as just like a storage for patterns, right? So you can keep extra patterns in there and then take them out when you want them. But yeah, this is
mine
fun.
in my portfolio. I bought one of the portfolios.
Yes, yeah.
And that's really nice for storage
for
too.
For sure. And then it comes in this nice little bag. I wasn't sure if the markers might come off, so I do keep it in my bag for now.
Just in case?
Just in case, yeah. Yeah, don't want it to transfer to the inside of my beautiful Attenti bag, so.
Handy tools, you know, there's,
Can't live without. Okay.
Does that stick? Oh yeah, look, this sticks too.
It's metal, so it will stick to a magnet, yeah. Oh man. Okay, so it's been cold. And our friend Stephanie is working on Thrummed Mittens.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So she's, Stephanie Pearl McPhee has a Patreon channel which you can subscribe to, and you can make Thrummed Mittens as well. Yeah. She asked us if we would help out by just making sure that people had supplies if they wanted to and make it easy for them. So we put together a whole bunch of kits. We call these Stephanie's Thrummed Mitten kits. And it comes with some sliver, a ball of epic yarn, and a project bag to keep everything in. This sliver that we got from Handmaiden in Nova Scotia is so beautiful.
Isn't it lovely?
50 grams of merino unspun wool that you can turn into thrummed mittens, or you can spin it, or you can felt it. We have a lot of dedicated felters. It's just gorgeous.
You can put it into weavings. There's so much.
Yes.
You could make gnome beards out of this.
Yes, yes. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Wouldn't it? Oh my gosh, that is soft.
Isn't it? It's merino wool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't expect it to be quite this soft.
Well, that's the thing. Like when you buy these hanks or twists of yarn, they've been dyed, so the fiber is compacted. So before you use it, you have to kind of fluff it out, right?
And Stephanie's going to be teaching that on her Patreon, right?
Yep. Yep.
You guys, if you haven't had a chance to go there, check it out. Cynthia and I subscribed right from the very beginning.
Yeah.
It's been such a wonderful learning. Not only is Stephanie brilliant and she knows everything that there is about knitting, crochet, spinning, weaving, and many more things, it's so darn fun.
She is a breath of fresh air, for sure. So we'll put a link into the show notes just below this video platform. You'll find all the notes with links to things. People always want to know what you're wearing, Barb. So tell us a little bit about your sweater today.
Okay, I'm wearing the Soundtrack sweater by Olive Knits, Marie Greene. And yeah, I wear it quite a lot. I thought if I put on turquoise today, maybe the sun would come out.
Good luck with that, eh?
I love it. It's just a top-down yoke sweater.
Yeah.
Fun. This one fits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's lovely.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah, so we'll put a link to that into the show notes as well. And I think I mentioned this already, but I'm wearing Flock Together, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, yarn by Ancient Arts, and we'll put that in the show notes as well.
I won't make you take that off because it's so, you got it on so beautiful. But this is just an incredibly long shawl.
Let me do this because I'm sort of feeling kind of brilliant about the way I've styled this today.
Okay.
So it is a very long shawl, and I put it on the hep way, the Shetland way. So you just take that shawl and cross it over your body, tie it in a gentle knot in the back, and you just scooch everything down a little bit.
Wow.
I feel kind of brilliant in it.
The hap way.
The hap way, yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's really a hap or if it's just the shawl way, but that's what they do. They just like, so you need something really long to cross it around your body.
Our tesserae would work that way too, wouldn't it?
Yes. Absolutely.
We might have to re-yarn that one.
We might. So we are on this re-yarning project for 2022. And each month we're taking a different RCY original design and we're knitting it up in a different yarn combination.
Right.
So you brought your February project with you.
Yes, I did.
This has been super popular.
This is Shinny Mitts. We made up kits too and talked about it in a newsletter, and it's been really popular. Those have been flying out because it's double lined, you guys. You make a mitten and then you make another mitten and you put one inside of the other and you have super cozy mittens.
Yes. So you made this mitten with, instead of hat trick plus kid silk haze plus a liner, you used?
I used Adam and Eve. So fingering weight, just the original was also fingering weight, but it had you put mohair with it for the outer mitt. So it made a thicker, more windproof maybe mitt, plus a liner. So on this one, we wanted something that was maybe a lighter version of that, so that you could maybe wear it, you know, on still cool days, but the original Shinny Mitts were like 40 below out on the ice rink holding a hockey stick. These are more like 10 to 20 below, you know, walking the dog or driving to work. You can still feel things through these. They're not quite so thick. So that's the reknit. I used Adam and Eve in River, and then a ball of kid silk haze in the color Peacock.
Was one ball of kid silk haze enough for the pair of mittens?
Yeah, actually plenty.
Yeah.
For my size.
Yeah. So you used one skein of Adam and Eve and one ball of kid silk haze.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you have a ball of kid silk haze kicking around in your stash, all you would need is a skein of Adam and Eve, right? Because the liner doesn't actually show up.
Right.
Like, I mean, you could have used, you know, bright pink or fuchsia or...
Yeah, it does show just a little bit here, Cynthia. Anne's written the pattern to just peek through. Right at the top. But you don't have to do that. And the kits that we put together were sort of matchy-matchy anyways.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, this is just fingering weight yarn. I think, you know, you might have something in your stash that you want to use too. But the thing that's so nice about this is that it's got that little bit of cashmere in it.
Yes.
And so it's just
super warm, super soft. Yeah. Looks really cozy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can let me put my hand in it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm working on mitten 2.
That is nice.
Isn't that nice?
That is so nice. It fits
See?
my hand perfectly, Barb. I'm just saying.
Here's mitten 2.
Okay.
Okay, and
Yeah.
here's how much I have left. I've got tons of Adam and Eve left.
Yeah.
And here's how much I have left
Oh,
of Kids Okay.
you have
so
tons of this left too.
yes,
So maybe there's, 4 mittens in here.
maybe you could make a pair of kids.
I think you should definitely
or
make
baby mitts.
another adult pair just in case. Is that your gauge swatch? Tell me that's not your gauge
No,
swatch.
it's not.
Okay.
I forget what this is, but
I see that in a gnome somewhere in the future.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
just a
right.
little rim of hair on the bottom of the hat
Yeah,
somewhere, or
yeah.
a mustache. Oh, this is really nice, Barb. So good job.
thank you.
Yeah.
It was fun knit, but I
Yeah.
had to put it aside so that I could work on gnomes.
Right.
Show me your reknit. Now I'm so
Okay.
anxious to see this one.
Well, so for March, so it's my turn in March. For March, we talked about doing the top shelf toppers, which is a boot topper.
Yeah.
And I wanted to re-yarn it in El Rio. So I've got here an epic version. They're in my...
Those boots are so cute.
They're fun, yeah. All right, so these boot cuffs have a little cable detail on them.
Yeah.
And then they're ribbed underneath. So this is a design by Fiona Ellis. So this part fits inside your boot to keep your leg warm, and then this flips over top of your boot to be the stylish component.
Right.
And you've got these nice little cables in there. So I thought,
So, do you wear those rubber boots in springtime?
yeah, in fact, even in the wintertime when it's slushy out,
Yeah.
it's kind of nice to have rubber boots.
And do you wear socks inside?
Mm-hmm.
But your leg is kind of like next to the boot top? Is that...
Yeah, well, to me, this adds a warmth layer to the top of your boot, but more so it adds a bit of style. I mean, here's boot without topper, here's boot with topper.
Well, yeah, for
right?
sure.
Yeah.
And then if your leg was kind of, it wouldn't rub either. It would
Yeah.
just be a nice...
Yep. No, I'm thinking also about just extending this part of the cuff,
Right.
and having it more like a leg warmer.
Well, that
so
would be...
you can wear it with short boots.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be really nice, I think. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of, like you can wear, I like to wear Ugg boots.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not, as high as
Right.
those.
Yeah.
But you could wear leg warmers if they were longer
Yes.
inside Ugg boots too.
Leg warmers are so fantastic. Like when you're wearing a skirt like I am and it's wintertime, you just pull those leg warmers on, put on your short boots or even, shoes with a little bit of an ankle on them.
Yeah.
And then you go do what you want to do. And this is like having a tall boot on.
Yeah, or a pair of pants,
Yeah,
right? Like it
yeah.
really does provide warmth.
So I need to pick a color, Barb.
Yeah.
I pulled some colors that I thought were kind of springy of El Rio. And I thought maybe you might help me pick a color.
Oh.
Yeah. Again, I got purple in there because I like purple, as we've
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. I mean,
But
any of these would be gorgeous.
also-
I love this gold too.
Yeah.
This gold has got orange in it. It's got greens.
Yeah. And what do you think? I mean, just
Oh.
about sandwiching it so
Yeah,
that,
two-toning it.
yeah. So, you could, right?
Definitely.
I think. Yeah.
And what would you do your cables in to show up? The lighter one?
The lighter one, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't too dark. It would show up the cables, but
Yeah.
this will show up the cables a little better, I think.
Very nice.
Yeah.
This is just going to feel amazing too, right?
Right? Right? Yeah.
Yes.
And then the alpaca's a little bit thinner than Epic is. This is like a DK weight, and Epic is a worsted weight. So I think it might fit inside a boot a little bit easier. It's not as thick on the inside.
And it's more slippery too, right? Alpaca's got that sort of slickness to it that this would be really pretty combo too, and it would go with your boots.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe I'll have to do it in that one. Yeah.
Nice.
Have the dark green as the main part, and then the light green as the leg.
Do you have to measure your legs?
I'll let you know. I'll let you know once I've got them redone. I did with this one, because it was sitting up at the top of my boots are quite tall. So because it was sitting up at the top of my boot, I did knit the largest size in the pattern. But I think, if you were working on shorter boots, so yeah, there are circumference measurements in the pattern. And so I'll follow those along. And the pattern's also written for fingering weight. So if you want something that's a lot thinner, you can do this in a fingering weight as well.
Cool. Oh, I just don't even want to put this down. This feels so nice.
Exactly.
These are going to be beautiful. Okay,
Yeah.
so you'll show us those next.
Green also goes with purple, so there's that, Yeah. Okay, so I will show you those next time. I'll show you the completed ones, and we'll talk about our next re-yarning project. But while we're on the topic of Fiona Ellis, let me just pop in that Fiona's doing a new class for us called Knitting as Mindfulness. And she did the first session in February. There's a second session coming up on March 12th, Saturday, March 12th. And Barb, the response to the first session was overwhelming. Everybody really resonated with this class.
Yes.
And so I want to encourage you to, if you don't know what we're talking about, take a look down below for the link to the class and check it out. Knitting as Mindfulness.
You did a video too where Fiona really explains a lot about what she's talking about, and it's it's not yoga.
No.
It's all about knitting using yoga concepts. So.
Yeah. And Fiona takes you through some exercises that are really, really cool. So this next one coming up in March is on cables, it's on the present and being in the present, but it's also going to have some exercises that involve cables. And at the same time, Fiona re-knit one of her projects. This is the Tree Pose yoga bag.
Yes.
And if you look at the little cable pattern on here, it's actually a person doing the tree pose.
Yeah.
In
How
yoga.
cool is that?
Isn't that really
Isn't that cool?
neat? So this one,
now this is crunching.
it's crunching because we didn't have a yoga mat here at the store. So Barb created a little package to put inside it to give it shape. But
That's funny.
isn't it lovely?
Yes. And it's got miles of I-cord. So there's an I-cord around the top.
Yeah, here we'll just pop
So you
that
just
open.
tie, so your yoga mat just kind of slides in there. It's brilliant. And then it's got a really nice 3-cord I-cords that are woven together, like braided together, and that's the handle.
So you did the I-cord work. Yeah. Did you spend hours and hours knitting I-cord?
I cheated.
Yeah. What did you use?
I have an I-cord machine at home. It's like the Addy egg that we just got in. Mine's a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
But the Addy egg makes 6 strands into an I-cord. And these I-cord machines are great. I cranked it out in like 10 minutes.
Nice.
It took half a ball of Epic, Cynthia,
Oh, to do the I-cord.
to do the I-cord. So that would have taken me like 6 days to knit that much I-cord. So,
Well, the good news is, if you don't have an I-cord machine, that I-cord is a good thing to do while watching television or listening to an audiobook. This is a good waiting room project because you don't need the pattern to go with you. And the kit, so we put together some yarn kits for this, but Fiona's pattern includes enough yarn requirements so that you can do all the I-cord. It's included.
and we put together some beautiful combos, like
I know.
really natural, soft cottons
Yeah.
and recycled denim yarns
Yeah.
and our wools.
Yeah, so this one that we just showed you is made with RCY Epic yarn, and so we have kits in that. And we also used Rowan Summerlight DK and Rowan Denim Revive.
I like the colors that you picked for those too. They were really
Thanks. Yeah, we tried to make sure that we picked colors that we had good stock in, because that's important too. You don't want to run out just when you tell people about it.
nice. Fiona is also a yoga teacher,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Yep.
that's important to say too, because I think, if you did want to do yoga while you were listening to Fiona, you could.
Perhaps.
could.
She does keep your hands fairly busy. But yes, I'm sure she would accommodate that. Anyway, the Knitting is Mindfulness next session is happening on Saturday, March 12th. And you definitely want to get a seat in this one because it's really cool. And I think this whole concept is just going to take right off. I think people really like the idea of coming together once a month for this kind of exercise. Yeah.
Fiona's got the most beautiful accent too. She comes from London and from the UK, and she's got a great accent. And she's also a belly dance.
A belly dancer.
A belly dancer. Yeah. So she knows all about the body and movement, and translating that into knitting is fascinating. So what other classes are coming up? Have you got more?
Oh my goodness, I handed you a list at the, Can you,
Wanna have a peek?
Sure, that'd be great, thank you. Oh yes, okay. So we're also doing top-down socks with Anne Budd. This is another multi-session class, so there's 4 sessions to it. And Anne will take you through sock knitting from the top of the sock down to the bottom of the toe.
Normally we have classes on toe up.
We do have a toe-up sock class that's coming up as well. This one is cuff down.
Oh.
And yeah, it's a great class.
Do you think it's better for beginners? Or
No, I just think there's 2 different ways of knitting socks, and I think you should do both of them and decide which way. And it's not even which way you like better. For me, like I'll do toe up. In fact, I have a pair of toe up socks on the go, right? This is from the birthday yarn that you gave me, and I'm putting all kinds of my learning into play here. But the point I want to make is...
You're doing them toe up.
I'm doing them toe up. But I also do socks cuff down. So it really just depends on the yarn, what needles I have available to me, whether or not I want to look at a pattern, how I want the heel to fit, because there are some advantages to me of doing a cuff down sock that you don't get toe up. But I just took a class with Kate Atherley where she gave us all kinds of cool ideas on different heels and toes. So I always have a pair of socks on the go.
Yeah.
And so I just love the idea I can, pop stuff into it. So you should take the class on cuff down socks, and you should take a class on toe up socks and everything in between, because it just makes you more versatile.
Yes, for sure.
And
can I pet your yarn?
Oh yeah.
I just want to see how this is from Over the Moon.
It is. This is the Electron sock.
Oh
yarn.
yeah. So soft, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's fun to work
with. Look
with.
at her speckles. That's so pretty.
Yeah, this is her Sock of the Month club, and this was the February yarn? January yarn? Yeah. So I had to cast it on. I mean, it's a gift yarn, has to go up in the queue.
Exactly, yeah.
We also have a class coming up with Kate Atherley on short row savvy. And we get a lot of questions about this. People are, write in and they'll say, in fact, I had someone write in recently and say, can I schedule a tutorial with you? Because I'm trying to do these short rows and they just don't make sense.
Yes.
So I always write back and say, yeah, you can, but we have a class with Kate Atherley, and you should learn more than one way to do short rows.
Yeah.
Because there is more than one way to do it, and one way may not be your way.
It makes such a difference too. I think everybody now, as far as designers, puts short rows in the back of sweaters.
Oh yeah.
Right? And there's a reason why. I mean, the fit it's impressive how different a few short rows can make.
Right. Not just sweaters, but shawl design,
socks,
sock heels. There's all kinds of places where you're going to run into your friend, the short row. So
gotta know it.
Yeah. So I needed to put a wedge in there. You need to take this class with Kate Atherley. Short row savvy's on March 16th. And then she's coming back on March 19th to do yarn substitutions.
Oh, I love that class.
Yes.
That one's super.
Oh, again, common question people ask us is, what yarn can I substitute for this pattern? Because I don't want to order it from Europe.
Well, and that too, some of the greatest patterns were designed using yarns that are no longer around. And how many times a day do we do substitutions?
Well, every time the phone rings almost, right? So yeah, this is a great class. Kate will explain how to substitute yarns, but also what the fiber components are like and what you might want to use if you want elasticity and memory, or if you want drape. So this is a really good class. That's on March 19th. And then,
That's one I think everybody should take.
oh, absolutely. And it doesn't matter whether you're a knitter or a crocheter or a weaver for that matter. I mean, yarn substitutions impacts all makers who work with yarn.
Yes. Yeah.
We're also going to do a Fiberside Chat in March with, because apparently March is crochet month. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. So we want to pay some special attention to crochet. And so in Fiberside Chats, they have a chat with Thomas Gregory Hamilton on Sunday, March 20th.
Oh.
It's called An Intro to Simple Crocheted Garment Making. And I took a look at this gentleman because he's like a runway designer.
Wow.
Yeah, and his stuff is really stunning. So you definitely need to make some time on Sunday, March 20th to meet Thomas and to see some of his designs and hear about his journey into turning crochet into something very, very fashionable and couture.
Now, the Fiberside Chats, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're now recorded as well, right?
Yes, if they're
you
able to, they
can't
are
make
recording them. Yep. So this one will definitely be recorded, and that's fantastic, right? Because you're able to you watch it later if you can't make it.
Yeah, if you can't make the live session.
Or if you want to see something again. So oftentimes in these sessions, the instructor will do a demo.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just a chat, but sometimes there's a demo involved. And the really cool thing about, this whole online class thing is that when somebody does a demo, guess where your perspective is?
Yeah, right on the camera. Like
it's
wow.
as if it's your hands that you're seeing, right? So you're able to go and watch the recording and hit pause and catch up.
Yeah.
Which I think is just brilliant.
And you don't get that, do you, in a class, like in a workshop?
We try, right?
Right.
Yeah. You remember taking classes and the instructor would say, so half of you come up and watch me do this, and then you go down and practice it while the other half of the class comes up. And some of the instructors would have cameras and projectors and things like that, but really online is, okay, I could go on about it for a long time, right? There is one more class that's coming up this month that's really important. You remember you said you were doing your yoke sweater and you wanted to make it a cardigan, but you were afraid?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, Kate Atherley is doing a class on steeking this month.
Ooh.
So if you wanted to take that cardigan
Kate's
and
teaching it,
cut it up the front and turn it into a cardigan. Steeking, for those of you who don't know, is taking scissors to your knitting and cutting through those strands of yarn, but doing it in a way that it doesn't all go
unravel
to heck in a handbasket, right? Yeah. So there is a little pre-work for this one. So sign up early.
Cool. Are you making a small sample?
You'll just do a little kind of like cup cozy size sample, and you'll cut it, and you can install a zipper or buttons if you want. So
when is that one?
That one is March 23rd.
Okay.
And it's just a one session class, so 2 hours of your time on March 23rd.
Wow.
Are you registering now?
No, I'm just looking to see what I've got going on.
Register. It doesn't matter what you have going on, Barb.
I know.
You can watch the recording later.
That's true. Okay. All right.
Perfect. So that's classes and workshops.
Okay.
I'll give you your paper
And
back.
you're continuing to work on those. So you've got probably all sorts of new people.
There's stuff coming up in April. We may, cut back on workshops a little bit over summer as people get outside more, but and look for more learn to knit classes. We'll have some felting classes coming up. There's all kinds of good things happening. RiverCityYarns.com, classes and events.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Yarnicorn and our mitered square blanket.
Yeah.
Because that's something else that it's a work in progress.
Yes.
Cynthia and I have been making mitered squares. Our intent with Yarnicorn is to use it as a way of helping people. And so we've been picking charities every month to donate something to. And we've decided that when we're done our mitered square blankets, we're going to raffle it off for charity.
Yeah, see what it looks like when it's
Yeah.
done.
It's going to look amazing.
So I've got 2 squares done on mine.
Okay.
But you remember, like, it doesn't have to be Yarnicorn yarn, right? Like, if you
No.
wanted to do this and donate it to a charity as well, you know, you could do something that's maybe more planned coloring. We picked a pattern that would go really well with the unknown.
Remember, we're raffling it off, and probably the person who gets it is going to be a maker. So they're going to appreciate how colorful and how special ours is.
Yeah,
And we're going to give the money to a charity.
Yes. So I have 2 squares done. This is January's yarn, and this is February's yarn. And I'm
Right.
looking forward to adding March's yarn
Right.
to this.
That's right.
Yeah. But you've got some examples here, too, of the mitered squares done in different colorways.
So this, too, was January. So this was called Over the Moon. And here we're teaming it with different colors of solids. So you get to see how a pink speckle would look with medium blue shade in it. And there's 2 squares here.
Yeah, so you've done the same color in both of them.
Yep.
And then this one here, you've done it the same colorway with black.
Right.
So if we do this, kind of
Yeah.
get the same color. Oh, hold yours up as well. So this is, you know, 3 different color combinations using the same Yarnicorn yarn. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, they're all fun. The thing that's so neat about this is how squishy this mitered square. We're using fingering weight held double.
Well, we did that because we, you know, again, anticipated that perhaps one of the Yarnicorn yarns might be in a DK or worsted weight.
Right.
And so we wanted to have a gauge that we could match to various weights of yarn. So
Okay,
this
here's
has
a
been
quiz
fun.
question for you. Why is this one square bigger than the other?
Oh, you know what? I know I saw your little quiz there. You think that you didn't decrease on one row.
Yeah.
But look at mine too, Barb. I think it's when you finish the square
Really?
that it just gets a little pulled out of shape because you're knitting this way.
Oh.
And so the little triangle up at the top is just a little poochy. But when you pick up stitches along here,
It'll
and you
even itself
work back,
out?
it'll even itself out.
Because I was sure I forgot to decrease on a row.
I mean, look at the difference between this first square and the second square. Because this one's
suppose.
freshly knit, so it's just pooching out a bit. But you'll add another square on there, and then don't worry about it. Your last square that you put on, it's going to be a little poochy too, but you can just wash it, lay flat to dry, and it'll be fine. Or our pattern includes the option of putting a border around it, and the
There you
border
go.
will stabilize everything.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, I don't think you should worry. It's sort of the consequence of doing these blankets on a different kind of angle. You know that dishcloth blanket where you start at one corner, you go out, and you end up like this? When you turn it around, it never looks square until after it's been washed and kind of manipulated into its square shape.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how March's
Yeah, tell us about
Yarnicorn
March,
works out.
Barb.
Okay. Well, in March, and I'm just going to refer to my computer here.
Yeah.
I just have to pull this up.
She's putting in her password.
Yeah.
I'm peeking over her shoulder.
Oh, you know what my password is. I have no secrets from you. Okay, so first of all, this yarn comes from Trailhead Yarns.
Can I hold one up?
Yeah, please do. Trailhead Yarns is a Canadian company, and
so nice.
this one's called 1 in a Million. And when we think about 1 in a Million for Yarnicorn, we kind of think of Trailhead because they are Canada's dye team or dyer that works on plant-based fibers.
Right.
So Sam had, early on in her dye career, she had a wool allergy. And so a real serious one. And so she couldn't work with wool. And so she wanted to work with plant-based fibers, but couldn't seem to find anything that, met her desire for color and for speckles and for, so she started dyeing, and this has been since 2013 that she's been on this journey, and wow, she truly is 1 in a million.
Folks, like trying to dye plant-based cellulose fibers is really, really hard.
You've tried it, have you?
I have, and the color never really kind of sticks. I really haven't tried it, but if you take a look at, if you tried to dye something like a wool plant base, like a wool cotton blend, you know, the dyes that you use for wool just don't penetrate. You have to use special dye.
Even Kool-Aid dyeing too, Cynthia. I've dyed cotton and it just doesn't, you end up with pastel versions. You don't get the brightness that...
Yeah, look at this green. Like,
I know.
It's just so bright. It reminds me of spring. Like, it's the first green that comes through the earth. You know, it's not the dark green after having sat out in the sun for a bit. And this is Appalachian Trail that it's being dyed on.
Yeah.
So 65% cotton, 35% nylon in a fingering weight.
Yes.
Right? We used this before in our sock project.
And you guys, this yarn shows cables and stitch definition beautifully. That's one thing. The second thing is it's soft as can be. It's a beautiful blend of cotton. This is Italian. It's milled in Italy to Sam's own specifications. Carol told me that Sam had them custom make the spin and the twist on this.
Oh, nice.
So
it really is nice.
It's so soft. We also love it for tops and things like that too. It's beautiful for summer clothing.
And tell me about this.
Okay,
What's
so
this?
When we were talking about the colorway, Sam said, well, what do you want? And I said, surprise us. You know, this is 1 in a million. So she said that she got inspired. She was searching for a spring green, and she was inspired by a photo of a field with wild poppies in it.
Oh.
So this is a pairing of a really pretty green. She thought about green fields with the rare 4-leaf clover.
Oh.
And so this has got different shades of greens in green. And then she's got these minis that she's teamed with it that we're offering along with it as an add-on should you like. And these are representing wild poppies.
Okay, so Yarnicorn is going to come out on March 20th. And it'll be offered up as a single skein purchase. But if you want to add on some minis, you can do that.
That's right.
Oh, so these are optional.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
And then I'm hopeful that we might even ask Sam to make a little bit more for us for summertime to offer as...
More of this?
Not this colorway, no.
Okay.
Her own
This is
colorways.
one of a kind
This is
color.
all one of a kind. This is 1 in a million.
Yeah.
And when this is gone, this is gone.
That'd be so nice. There's because it is a gorgeous yarn, and it's really hard to find nice cottons.
Oh, yes.
You know, when it comes to knitting and crochet, you're most likely to find, like when we look at our product in our yarn shop, it's probably 75% wool.
Yes.
Because that's what people want, right? Yeah. So it's really nice to find a gorgeous hand-dyed.
But this is what you want when the weather's warm.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I love wearing cotton. I love wearing linen.
Yeah.
Especially in the summertime.
Yeah.
And then we just have one more yarn to show.
Okay.
And then that's it.
Or really just one?
We're done.
Okay.
So a couple months back, I spoke with Jana from Handmaiden and said, Jana, we need something summery. We need, to bring summer, and it wasn't coming fast enough.
Right, yes.
So Jana said, no problem, she said. I got this one covered. I'm going to dye you 4 brand new colorways.
Oh, in?
Adam and Eve.
Oh, nice. Is that what's here on this tray?
Yes, yes. So in Adam and Eve, and that's our fingering weight, merino, cashmere, nylon. This is the yarn that we say is heavenly. It's all about temptation. This one's, in my opinion, got just the right amount of cashmere.
Oh, man, Barb.
Yeah.
What are we calling this one? Oh, coral. I think this is a very popular color this year.
It is.
There's some shades of pink in here, and then that almost bright tangerine.
Yes.
But the blend is really beautiful. Oh.
So we're it's an experiment sort of to see, but we're going to see how popular it is.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll add it to the line, or maybe it just comes out in spring, summer.
So I see you pulled some other colors of
Yes.
Adam and Eve to pair it with. Look at how gorgeous that is.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
As soon as we put them together, we could see like combinations.
Oh, and this is cool pink.
Yeah, so
Yes,
this
it
one
is.
has a really pretty blue undertone, and it goes really nice with desert flower,
Yes.
or some of the stronger colors like the magenta or the purples that we have in the line. This one, desert flower, goes almost with all of them. It goes really pretty with beach glass, which is the blue in the line. So this is a brand new one too. This is called Beach Glass. It was inspired by, the glass that you find that washes up on shore.
So you're right, it does go nicely with that one.
Yeah. And it also goes beautifully with tourmaline.
This one here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can't you imagine like a 2-color shawl, where you've got, well, like our terrace, mosaic stitch.
Tesserae.
Tesserae. It'd be beautiful with that.
That would be lovely.
And then the last one is called pine.
Oh, yes. It's
And
kind
I
of like a
love-
mossy green.
Yes. A mossy green with sort of a yellow gold undertone.
So kind of in those olive colors.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So rich. I
really
think it would
nice.
go really nice with terra firma too, which is a dark chocolatey brown.
So these are available right now in Adam and Eve.
Yes.
And not in Eden.
Not in Eden. No,
Okay.
we just brought them in Adam and Eve, and we'll see how it goes. But a little bit of sunshine for you.
Yes. These are, and they're not Easter colors, but they kind of make me feel like,
They
wouldn't that
could.
be cute in a little basket with just a bunch of little,
Yeah,
you know?
to make this little guy.
Yes. This is our Easter Bunny egg cozy, and it's a pattern that we're re-knitting.
Yes.
And we'll make some adjustments to it. It's a very old pattern. But yes, wouldn't that be
Wouldn't
fun?
that be cute?
Yeah.
I think you should take a couple balls of that and split them up and make a little Easter bunny.
Yes.
This little cozy, you guys, fits around a Cadbury Easter egg. I think everybody has Cadbury Easter eggs,
Oh,
don't
yeah.
they? Or
Oh,
are they
yeah.
just Canadian?
Oh, well, if they're just Canadian, there's an American equivalent, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're like those little eggs that have the yellow.
Yolk in them? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're definitely everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're so delicious.
Now you could put this on top of a hard-boiled egg.
Absolutely. And keep it warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I think you've included a special recipe on how you make the
Hard-boiled
perfect
eggs.
hard-boiled eggs.
That was on the original pattern. But we're improving the pattern. So.
Oh, you took
but
it
we'll
off?
We'll keep the recipe in there. Sure, why
Okay.
not? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so you just pop this on top of your egg and you keep it warm
Yeah.
while you're making your toast.
Yeah.
And a super fun little.
Well, it might be kind of fun if you were putting a hard-boiled egg in your lunch, just to put a little rabbit around it, right, to keep it from breaking in your lunch bag.
There you go. And you need to make more than one.
Oh yeah,
Because after
absolutely.
you've done your eggs, then you want your Cadbury eggs for
Yes.
dessert. So you
I
need-
want a Cadbury egg right now. Now I can't stop thinking about it.
Anyway, super cute,
Yeah,
Cynthia.
it's fun
Thank
and very
you.
simple to knit. Really, really quick design. So that's one of our free patterns on our website. So we'll put a link into it in the show notes, but it's not hard to find. Yeah, yeah.
All right, I think that's got us pretty much to the end.
I think you might be right. So let's say thank you, everybody. If you stuck it out here to the end, we really, really appreciate it. We'd love to have you leave a comment in the comment section. We try to respond to all the comments and let you know how much we appreciate your encouragement and your motivation. The other thing that's always really encouraging is if you like the podcast episode. So if you had fun today, hit that like button. We really appreciate it. And subscribe if you want notifications for our videos when they come out.
Did I mention about the charity?
You didn't mention about the charity for Trailhead Yarns.
Right.
So do you know what it is?
I do.
Okay, what is it?
The charity is donating supplies to Indigenous schools.
Oh, that's right. This is a charity that was, this is an organization that was, that is something that is close to trailheads.
Right.
They suggested the donation, is what I'm trying to say.
That's right. And the charity is called Art for Aid. They collect and distribute art supplies to Indigenous Northern school groups.
Oh, that's really nice.
Isn't that nice? And so Sam, she also not only makes yarn, but she does threads.
Oh.
And she donates, sometimes they have leftovers when they're making their threads on the little bobbins.
The kits?
And she donates all sorts of leftovers and things that don't die exactly right to this school. And they do all sorts of art projects with them.
Oh, that's really nice.
So that's going to be our donation this month.
Good, yes. Because a Yarnicorn is magical and
all about healing.
Helpful. Yeah. So that's fabulous. Oh, good.
Thanks you so
for
much.
remembering that, Barb.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for joining us. We hope that you check out our website, subscribe to our podcast, and keep us motivated.
Yeah. Take care, everybody. Have a great month. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye. Okay, so now we're going to segue into talking a little bit about sweaters. And today, Cynthia and I have Connie joining us. Hi, Connie.
Hi.
Connie, you've been making lots of sweaters during COVID. This has kind of been the last 2 years, I would call them years of the sweater, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yes. And just for those of you who may not know, Connie also works in our shop. She helps us here. And so you've been privy to seeing like lots of different yarns, lots of different sweater patterns, and inspired, I'd say, by making sweaters. So wanted to chat with you a little bit about that today.
I have a really good stash after working here for 6 years.
Right, yes. That is one thing that you managed to accumulate working in a yarn shop.
Yes.
Yes. And, you know, not just, you know, a ball of this, a ball of that. Connie buys in sweater quantity, right? So,
yes.
Yeah.
I got over that ball of this, ball of that really fast. Because then I have, you know, a lot of mixtures and
right.
Although I do like stripes, so sometimes that works out too.
That's right. That's right. One of your favorites is stripes. So tell us a little bit about sweaters. Now, let's start with the one that you're wearing. So how did you pick upon this sweater?
Well, actually, Cynthia put me up to taking Ann Bud's top-down sweater class.
Right, yes.
And I just happened to have 6 balls of Red Fox Eden that I bought when the color very first came out. It was It was my favorite. It still is. So.
Yeah, it's one of, I think, everyone's favorite colors. Do we have a skein of it over there? Can we show it to the camera? This is dyed by our friends at Handmaiden Fleece Artist Yarns in Nova Scotia, and it's so pretty, isn't it?
It is really pretty.
It's just like your sweater shows. It's got burgundies in it and grays. It's got bright shots of gold and greens. And would you say that palette, Connie, is one of your favorites?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just so pretty. And so this was a top-down sweater. So you've kind of designed your own.
Yeah, it's a set-in sleeve, but you could change your neckline. You could do a cardigan, pullover, whatever you like.
Whatever you liked.
Yep.
And you chose Eden yarn, which is a worsted weight yarn.
Yeah.
But Anne's class allows you to use any yarn, really, right?
Yep, that's part of the beauty of the class.
Mm-hmm. It was really great. I'm in her class right now. I'm doing her top-down yoked class.
Yes.
So yeah, the things that I learned, I think, so far are just invaluable. Would you?
Oh,
what do you think about
it? Was great.
Online class.
For one thing, I'd had the book for years, and I was like, you open it up, and it's a lot of charts, numbers, and you're like, well, I like those written instructions that tell me exactly what to do.
Yeah.
But actually, going through that, now I would be confident to do other styles in the book, because it is really laid out very simply, and you just follow along from chart to chart in your size and your gauge.
Yeah. Well, your sweater's just beautiful. It's so interesting, too, to see how the yarn pools and changes. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I'm a little weird. I actually like pooling. Everybody's always, how do I get this to not pool? But I like the effect. So I did not mix my skeins, alternate skeins.
Okay.
So I just knit. So if I'm going to turn a little bit on the back.
Go ahead and jump up, stand up.
I don't
in
know
front
how
of the
okay.
camera. Let's.
So on the back,
Yeah.
and then on the top, because you're knitting back and forth, it just stripes.
Yeah.
And then as you get down under your arms, you're knitting in the round.
For the whole sweater.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's all knit together, and so then you get the neat pooling. And
Across the chest. Yeah.
And I was, excuse me, I'm going to get a frog. I was worried about not the pooling, but changing skeins because they're hand dyed. Sometimes the colors change quite a lot. So I did break up my knitting with about every 20 rows with a
solid gray.
solid, yeah.
Ah, same gray that you've used in the neckline and the cuffs.
Yes, with
Okay.
it's actually relic.
Oh yeah.
So that kind of broke up my
Your sections.
large, big, yeah.
Yeah.
And then on the sleeves, which I think are really neat, I just knit all in one skein, and it just makes this really neat
Wow.
sort of horizontal pattern, and then it goes into little stripes.
You're lucky because that and it happened both in the same spot on both sleeves.
I did try to start at the same point
Okay.
in the color when I started my sleeves. That's
Yeah.
all I did.
It's just beautiful, Connie. And how does it feel? That yarn?
It's great. Yeah, it's really nice. This is the first sweater I've made with Eden, and it's beautiful. It's soft. It keeps its shape nice, which I always appreciate. I don't like things that, you wear them once or twice and the elbows are hanging down and they bag out and lose their shape. So
That's
been very
really
nice
pretty.
that way.
So how many sweaters have you made this year?
This year?
Yeah.
Several, I'm going to say. Probably about 6, maybe.
Yeah. I know you've got some beautiful ones, and if we have time, maybe we can put some photographs up of some of the other ones that you've made. Do you have a favorite shape or a favorite style that you like, Connie?
I generally like things that aren't too fussy, like fairly plain pullovers, really. I don't mind a little bit of detail, but I'm not into,
Lace
baubles and lace and all that stuff.
Set-in sleeve or raglan or drop? What's your favorite?
I like the set-in sleeve and raglan. I've decided yokes are not really for me. I always feel like I have like too much under my arms and just strange. So
yeah.
And you're going to ask me who my favorite designer is, I hope.
Go ahead.
I love Isabel Kramer. I actually liked her before she was so popular.
Yeah.
A lot of her stuff is I find it, it's not too fussy. And
right.
Her patterns are written very nice and clear, too. Easy to
And
follow.
she's got a lot of great techniques that have you sort of knitting that sleeve in all in one piece, which is really quite handy too, isn't it?
Yeah,
a set-in sleeve.
That's a newer, yes. So this one, you make the body of the sweater and you come back and you pick up around the armhole for the sleeve and do short rows across and come down. There's actually another technique where you start at the neck and you make a shoulder seam, and then when you get to this point, you're actually start on the sleeve at the same time.
The sleeve cap.
Yeah, yeah. So it's there's lots of neat ways.
Before COVID, I was lucky enough to take a class with Isabella Kramer, and she taught us how to do that on a little, teddy bear sort of size sweater. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, great things to learn, isn't there?
There sure is.
So during COVID, our stores actually been closed to in-store shopping. We've been doing lots of telephone consultations and phone orders and things like that. You've been helping us with the whole curbside service. We've still been able to maintain that for local folks. Tell us a little bit about what that was like.
Coming back?
Yeah, coming back, like, it was such a,
it was
a sort of a surprise when when it hit, right? We never thought this would ever happen to us, but it did. And how long were you off?
It was 10 or 11 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we were completely shut down. And then you came back. We were doing curbside service. I think Cynthia's husband was doing most of curbside
Yeah,
service.
Mike was doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of strange, to be honest. It felt sort of empty.
Yeah. The store did, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't have that customers coming in and that sort of back and forth. And
Right.
even as staff, we were all, sticking to ourselves.
That's
more.
right.
Yeah.
We had these shifts where, morning shift didn't interact
like
with
ships
the...
passing in the night.
Yes, yeah. And then our store was pretty much reconfigured too. We were always working on displays when we had customers coming in, and with COVID, we didn't need that, so we kind of reconfigured the shop too.
Yes, Mike had it nice and highly organized.
Ship-shaped,
Ship-shaped.
engineering
Things
style.
in number order or alphabetical order, so it was easier to pick orders,
Yes, yeah.
which is actually really nice.
It is nice, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Any sort of kind of last sort of things that you'd like to share with us about working here at River City Yarns?
Well, it is really nice to be able to work at a job where it's your hobby.
Yeah.
And I think I appreciate that often. I think, there's so many bad things out there.
Yeah.
And it's like, we get to knit. We get to,
Touch yarn.
and figure out what our next project is. And
Yeah.
so it's really a blessing.
There's something joyful about that, isn't there?
There is.
The other thing today, or yesterday, I can't remember, the days seem to meld into each other, but we were chatting with Sarah Schira from Imagine Landscapes, and she talked about the joy that comes from making gnomes.
Yes.
And I know that you're a gnome maker, I'm a gnome maker, and I know that you've made a gnome. Speak a little bit, if you can, about what's joyful about gnome making to you.
Putting his big nose on his face.
The nose. I know, isn't it true?
And it was I'm doing another project, and actually it was like I came to a point where I wasn't sure what I was doing, so I needed a little distraction.
So you picked up a gnome?
So I picked up, I'm just going to make a gnome. And I thought, this won't take long. But it took a little longer than I was expecting.
A day and a half later. Can you show us your gnome? Because you
yes.
did, was it Never Not Gnoming?
No, this is, what is it? I wrote it down, I think. It's a, gnome ask. Don't. Oh, gnome, you didn't. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia.
But because that's really difficult for me, I just call him Gned.
Gned.
Because I cannot remember, oh, gnome, you didn't.
Oh,
so
man.
anyway, this is him.
So, so he's got this cute little hat.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, the hat took me like 2 or 3 evenings.
To do?
Yeah. After the hat, the rest of it actually went pretty quick.
But that nose, he's got quite the schnoz on him there, doesn't he?
And he's got tiny arms, and his little hands go in his pockets.
Oh man, how cute is that? And I love the scarf that you made for him.
Yes.
And so yarns, what did you use up here? Was this leftover sweater yarn?
This is lichen in my crevices.
By Ancient Arts.
Ancient Arts.
Socknado.
So I had recently finally pulled out a half-finished crochet project that was never going to be finished. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this would be good for his hat. And indeed it is.
That's great. I'm going to show you mine too, Connie. I started last night, same pattern, but I'm using, and I'm not quite done yet, but I'm using one of these. Caroline dyed this for us. So this is our Epic yarn base, and this is a worsted weight. Yours is a fingering.
Yes.
So I think my guy's going to be a little bigger than yours. I did this all last night.
Well, you're probably
so
faster.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just, bigger yarn, bigger needles, right?
Yeah, but you still do the same number of rows. Once I got going on my hat, like after the first spike,
Yeah.
then it didn't seem so bad. But it's sort of like when you start something, it's a little slower.
You know, I used to make teddy bears.
Okay.
And they used to come alive when you put the eyes on. And this little guy has no eyes.
Nope.
And yet he just comes alive, doesn't he, when you start to get it all together?
He has eyes. They're just under his hat.
They're hidden. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. This is great. I think Cynthia's going to join us, and we'll see if she has any last-minute questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I'm just really excited that
Yeah.
you brought in Oh No You Didn't.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Gned.
Yeah. Isn't he a cutie? And look at this. The colors are perfect.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you a little bit later why she called him that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope mine looks half as good as hers.
It will. He's going to be awesome.
They're all incredible. And
Yeah.
so individual.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great.
So you've actually reminded me, if I can just, that
Mm-hmm.
one of the other things I brought along was my Ann Budd skirt.
Oh,
And Cynthia's wearing hers.
Great.
Because she's a show-off. But
It's true.
it is true. But this is mine
oh.
that I'm finally doing. Because the first time I ever saw Ann Budd, I think it was when I very first started here, and we did a workshop for staff, and she was wearing this skirt, and I thought, that is awesome, and I would really like one of those. And it's taken me this long, plus a bit, to finally get started on one. So I took the skirt class,
Oh,
and
nice.
I'm just kind of working on it.
Do you
between
find
stuff.
too, Connie, that, I mean, taking a class, one reason is just to learn things, but the other reason I think is that it keeps you motivated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now you've taken the class, now you've got that skirt back out on the needles and you're going to work on it, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And tell us about the waistband
Oh.
there.
Yes, as I said, I generally like things kind of plain. So this was this is my wild side coming out. The inside of my waistband is, I believe it's electric cow or something crazy like that. So I just used a color in there. So only I will know it's there.
That's beautiful. And you're making the pleated skirt ends.
The pleated, yes, and this is Richard DeVries Theed.
Ah,
So
yes.
it's
Still fingering,
yep.
but a superwash.
Yes.
Merino
Well, I really
nylon.
like that charcoal.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll go with a lot. Maybe even the sweater I'm wearing.
Gosh,
We'll see.
yes, that's really pretty. Keep going, Connie.
Yay.
Okay, Connie, so you brought in one
One
other
more
sweater,
sweater.
right?
Yes.
To show us? What
I-
have you got there?
I am working on my plateau, it's called, made from Pebble Island.
Can I hold that for you?
You
Have
sure can.
Got another piece?
No,
Okay.
I have, so this is the back.
This is the back.
And I have
okay.
one sleeve done. So I guess I'm technically just about half done.
Wow. This is beautiful. Okay, you have a few ends to weave in here. But tell us a little bit about the pattern and about the yarn.
Well, early on before, I think you had a little sample of the yarn, I believe,
Yes.
and the book,
Right.
just the pictures. And I said, I love stripes,
Yes.
and I liked the color palette.
Yes.
It's a little unusual.
Mm-hmm.
So I was encouraging you to bring the yarn in. So
Yeah.
when you did,
So then you
I
had
felt,
to buy
I
it
felt
when
like
it came
I
in.
really should have some. So I did get it, and it took me a while. I had to age it a little bit at home and
Yeah.
get it ready, but I've been knitting it, and it is so nice to knit. It's soft,
Yes.
but it still has that springiness that I really like.
Mm-hmm. You can see this too in
Yeah.
the strands. You know, it bounces back and forth. This just feels amazing.
You can, as you're knitting, it just sort of springs around your needle.
The stitches
know?
go exactly where
Yeah,
they want to
yeah.
go. Yeah. And you know, you attended Erica's session too, right?
did.
Where she talked about the palette that she used.
Yes, a couple of the yarns are even named after penguins that are from Pebble Island.
Yes.
The rockhopper and macaroni. So it was pretty neat.
And she said too that all of the colors in that palette went with each other. So it was really nice. You didn't have to worry about, you know, your colors blending. They all went together. And is that one going to be a cardigan or a pullover? Okay.
A cardigan. So, and it's in pieces. So yes, there are a lot of ends. And Cynthia and I have been talking about those. On the inside, I'm going to actually try just trimming them shorter and leaving them.
And letting them felt naturally.
Yeah, yeah. And on the front, I'll probably do more weaving, you know, where you have your bands, but I don't mind weaving ends that much.
Yeah, I don't mind it either. It's kind of, you know that when you're getting to the ends, you're almost to the end.
That's right.
Yeah. How was Erica's pattern to follow? Was it pretty simple?
Yeah. Oh, so anyway, I've got my new project board. I have a 66 row stripe sequence. I have my little card with all my colors on it so I can keep them straight as I'm working through my sequence. And then my instructions, like for shaping and stuff. So I got that all just nicely placed on my board, and I could just get in my new chair with my footstool, put my feet up, put my board on my lap, and go to town.
There's a testimonial for Julie Weisenberger with Cocoa Knits. Honestly, those are great. So there you're working from three different
things, yeah.
instructions. Do this, at the same time do this,
and
then
I was
do
flipping through my papers all the time.
Yeah.
So it was great.
We have to have good tools, right? Yeah. Are there any other tools, Connie, that you find kind of really important when you're sweater knitting?
I'm pretty attached to my row counter. I count everything. I like everything to be the same length.
Yeah.
So that's probably my big one.
And do you do the notes too? You got a notebook with your project? And
no, but I always make myself, like if I'm working on sleeves or shaping, I make myself a little chart so I know exactly on what row I'm doing which, you know, or decreases often if you're doing shaping or.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing with us today some of your sweaters. I know there's more. We'll pop those in. And then for just coming and hanging out with us. It's been wonderful.
I had to see where the magic happens.
Great. So come back and join us again. Keep on gnoming.
Yes. Yes. The next one is going to have a backpack.
That's right. Yeah.